My dad and his girlfriend broke up. This is when I was doing my master's, and he would be talking to me for like calling me for like 5 hours a day. I would just like listen and be like, oh, like this is kind of weird, but like whatever. So he called me one day and he's like, do you remember when we were sexual all the times in our childhood? And I was like, yeah. Kinda. So he's like, because you wanted to have sex with me when you were little and you didn't, that was your shadow that you suppressed, and that's why you're having all of these mental health issues, because so now you need to come have sex with me so you can like release this shadow.
Thinking about that,
yeah,
what you were saying right now, do you feel like you had a lot of mental block from what happened when you were younger, and going to that therapist or whoever you went to helped you unlock that?
Welcome to Brick by Brick, the podcast where we build your real estate dreams one brick at a time, all while cracking jokes and sharing personal growth insight. Brick by Brick is hosted by real estate and mortgage professionals who moonlight as comedians. Trust me, we are funnier than your normal real estate professionals. While our real estate and mortgage knowledge is as solid as a brick wall, the information shared here is primarily for chuckles and entertainment.
Woosah.
If you're looking for serious, no-nonsense real estate advice, please consult a qualified professional. But if you are here for some laughs and some property wisdom, you've come to the right place. Now let's get started with the show, and let's make your real estate journey a little less concrete.
Welcome to Brick by Brick, redefining success. My name is Michael, and this is the amazing, incredible Jessica.
So,
yes, let's get started.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So, Emily,
Yeah.
welcome.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited
for the
too.
first one.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us how we met and what you were, tell us a little
how
bit about
did
the retreat?
How did you ladies meet?
So I met her. I closed my car door. I looked over and there was this bright, beautiful face. No, I feel like we definitely did actually just like click right when we saw each other. Like everyone, the whole retreat was like, did you guys come together? Do you guys know each other? We're like, no, we just met like a few hours ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So met her at a quantum flow retreat. So quantum flow is combining like Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, meditation, breath work, sound healing, like everything into one modality.
Is it a bunch of like-minded people just meeting together, or is it just strangers?
Strangers, but like-minded.
I'm gonna make jokes.
Yeah.
So like, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
I don't know him. I'm just here.
So like, when you say strangers, is it like sign up here and then we go, or I'm curious to know.
So the guy who leads it, Swampa, what's his last name? I can never pronounce
His
it.
Instagram is global, so I just keep calling him Wampa Global.
If you want to find him out, that's how you find him out. So basically he leads these things and he's pretty influential within like the spiritual community. And so how I guess we all, because he didn't do too much marketing. He said he didn't do too much marketing. And so there's like monthly activations. You can like go on and be like fully certified with this method. And so basically he just puts it out into his network, so through email or through like the Facebook groups that we're all in. And then it's like, hey, I'm coming to Canada and I'm hosting a quantum flow retreat. Do you guys want to come?
He does like a world tour of is that what it is?
He is on a global tour right now, but like this one was in like a jungle in Quebec.
Ooh.
With like chickens running around. That's how I describe it when people ask me. It's like
Jungle.
that's how of a jungle it was.
So what was your energy going there? What were you looking to find going there?
Yeah, they actually asked that in my like end of, so they do like testimonials at the end, and they asked that. I think it's to meet the community, to like be around people who are also like-minded, but also, I just wanted to have the skills. And it's different being in the energy of someone, like our energy would be super different if we did this on Zoom, but like actually like feeling out the person in person, so different, right? And so I'd been doing his stuff for 2 years, and I'm like, damn, this is gonna be intense if I like go and see it in person. So it was almost just like, okay, it's intense online, I want to go like amplify that feeling in person. So it's like to clear my energy. You just feel like your channel's clear after doing this work, and then like intensified by like actually going and being there and being around everyone else who's also doing the work. It's like, damn. So yeah. that was my intention.
What does quantum flow in general do for your body? Like what's your version or definition of quantum flow or any of the modalities that you've kind of tapped into over the retreat?
So I feel like with quantum flow, the reason why I resonated with it so much is it's really like going head on into the nervous system. So all your energy centers, and then like really recalibrating your nervous system. So if you have any stuck trauma, if you have any like unprocessed emotions, it's doing movement, breath, all of the other things that he combines with it to like move that and shift that so that you're coming back to your natural state, which is like love, expansion, whatever you want. And then from there, another like reason why I really like it is like you can manifest a lot faster when your channel's clear, and when your energy in your field is like open, you can manifest better. So it's like a win-win. You feel better, and then you can like
when did you
faster.
decide to go into this field that you're in?
Yeah.
Right, because I want you to expand more on the field you're in.
Yeah.
And why you decided to get into it first.
Yeah.
Because that's like where the journey started. Or was it before that? Or is it when you woke up one day, like I'm sure this what we did, which is I want to be this.
Yeah. Okay, so I actually always forget this part when I tell this story, but it started with I was doing my undergrad, and I went to I was doing an environmental science, and I went to Indigenous, just like a talk. And she was talking about the quantum world through an Indigenous lens. And after that, I was like, damn, this is so interesting. But I left it. It was like the weekend for her retreat was like $300. And at that point, I was like in such like a weird mindset. I was like, that's so much. Like, I don't even know. And then I went to do my master's at in Waterloo. And I was so anxious. Like my body was like messed up. My mental health was like really bad. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go. And I didn't really know why I was going to these things. I just knew that I felt anxious. So like we went around like the circle. So it was like a group of people that come, and then you go around a circle and you like say why you're there. And I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like so anxious. Like I don't have any idea. And so I started going to those. And then a few years later, I realized that my dad had a personality disorder, and I was like traumatized my entire life and brainwashed. And so from that, I went like deep diving into like trauma, into healing. And so that started that whole thing. And I like just went like really intensely like, okay, I'm just gonna put all my energy into that. And then from that, at a certain point, I was listening to this Mindset Impact Theory University, and it was like, no one's going to come save you. Like, you have to like get up and do it. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I do. And something about that hit. And so then I started getting into like mindset and how to like actually shift things. So it got to a certain point in my healing where I was like, okay, let's like actually shift things and like let's move forward. Like I can't stay here for too much longer. And then I got really into like mindset, manifestation, the conscious, the subconscious mind, and then like how to create your results. And then from there, it's been like a back and forth of like, okay, we need to heal this, and we need to like recalibrate our nervous system, and we also need to like reprogram our mind to like what we actually want, and then like start taking that action, aligned action to get it. So that's like a bit about how I got into it. It's from my own like being like, shit.
Yeah. And then what was that point where you're like, you know what, I think I can make this a thing where I can share and coach and teach? What was that pivot point, and that made you decide, I'm like, you know what, I think I'm ready to take this into the next level?
So do you guys know Bob Proctor?
Yes.
Okay. So I was doing his coaching program, so his year-long coaching program. And I was like, damn, this is crazy information.
Yeah.
I want to tell everyone about this. Like, what the hell? It's kind of selfish to like just not even like tell people about this when it's like changed my life completely. So through that, I moved to Thailand, and then I started my business. And so I was only there for 4 months.
Okay, I was gonna say, whoa.
Like, are you talking from the future? Like,
That was funny.
For context, she's moving to Thailand.
Yes.
That's why.
yeah.
Like you caught me before I said something. I was gonna say,
Like,
you?
shouldn't we
Already
trust her?
getting to know you.
Like back to the future. That would be funny.
Yeah. So yeah, I just like learned how to create, and I started feeling better too. And then it was like almost selfish to not do that. One of the hurdles that I did have, so my dad passed last year, but when he was alive, I was like so scared to like go and speak about any of this, so scared to speak about my story, so scared to launch my business. I launched my business, and a week later he died. Yeah. So
Interesting timing.
right? There's so many like the story about that is just so fucking weird. But and that's kind of how. And then through that, like when he died, super, like a lot of grief and all that, but also at the same time, like I felt like free to like, you know, actually use my voice. And like, you know, I wasn't scared of like exposing him for anything or like just, you know, putting a light on him. Like it just opened up a lot more opportunities almost.
Did you feel like that held you back when he was alive?
Yes.
And through that, how would you advise somebody now thinking about back then? You could have been doing that way before.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at it and thinking, what if he was still alive? Do you feel like your wings would have been as bright as it is right now? So that would be my question. How would you help somebody? What advice would you give them to say, do this, even if that person is there?
Yeah. It's so hard because when you're like with my experience, I was super trauma bonded and there's like Stockholm syndrome. Like I was labeled with all of these different things, just labels. But man, like it's hard. Like your nervous system's like totally, like I moved when everything happened. Like I was scared. Like I was so scared of this person. And also I was scared of exposing them. And so definitely my wings would have been clipped. I would have just been like constantly like I didn't want to cause him any more pain. I didn't want to expose him. I didn't want to humiliate him. Like I would constantly be thinking, like, is he okay? Like, I don't want to cause this person any more harm. There's just the way you're thinking. It doesn't really make logic sense, but that's how entangled you are. And so if someone was in the same position, yeah, I'd just be continuing the healing work until you like can just stand in your truth and like actually just speak your truth. But I think it would have taken a lot longer for me to be able to like do that and fully disconnect from like protecting him almost, you know, and then just like keep placing that energy and keep placing everything inside so you can just stand independently, not be so concerned about the other person. But yeah, so it would just be continuing the healing journey. But definitely it helped to be able to, like, it just frees you up almost.
And that could like just apply to like not just say your father in any circumstances, but a lot of people. It could be a person, anyone that they feel like might be holding them down in energetically in so many ways, right? Which they might not even realize. I think it also takes a different level of awareness to even realize that that thing or that person is actually clipping your wings or holding you back in a certain way. And how did you even come to that awareness of that, you know, that something like that is even happening?
That I had trauma before.
Yeah.
So do you want the story?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I was completely unaware of anything that had happened. So I'd been abused my whole life. So physically, sexually, emotionally, but it was so normal, right? Like you don't really know any different when you're a kid. And he also had like complete opposite polarity. So he was amazing in so many ways. Like I'm so grateful for so much, but then he also like would flip a switch and, you know, like just go completely like unaware. And so yeah, so I was having like really bad mental health issues. And okay, so my dad, it's such like a complicated story. So my dad and his girlfriend broke up. And when that happened, he like came and clung on to me. So this is when I was doing my master's, and he would be talking to me for like calling me for like 5 hours a day. And at this point he was in psychosis. So he thought he was Joseph from the Bible and was going on all of these like, you know, like different directions. And yeah, just like he'd go on all these quests and he was hearing all these things. So I would just like listen and be like, oh, like this is kind of weird, but like whatever. But still unaware. And then if we want to do you want like the actual story?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
come on.
Okay.
I feel like you are comfortable enough to.
Yeah. I feel
Yeah,
like you've
I'll
done
tell you
a lot
the
of
actual
work.
story.
Yeah.
Okay, so he called me one day and he's like, do you remember when we were sexual all the times in our childhood? And I was like, yeah, kinda. And he was like, okay, well, because so he was into psychology and philosophy. And so do you guys know Carl Jung?
Yeah.
The Shadow?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's like, because you wanted to have sex with me when you were little and you didn't, then that was your shadow that you suppressed, and that's why you're having all of these mental health issues. Because so now you need to come have sex with me so you can like release this shadow. And I was like, maybe. I was like, that's kind of weird. Like I was so distorted, and like I didn't like all the record. I didn't.
Yeah, that's clear. I like that.
But I like did it, and it was interesting too because this is when COVID was happening. So I'd always have like a notepad, and I'd be like writing this down because fast forward, he's like that never happened. Like, but and so that happened, and after that was like a month, I didn't tell anyone, and I was like, my mental health got real bad. Like I was just like so depressed and I was like suicidal. And then so he started going to a coach for personality disorders because he thought that his girlfriend at the time who left him had a personality disorder. And so he said, you should go to this because your mom fucked you up. And so I went to her, and then basically it came down to us figuring it out that my dad was actually messed, because she knew by that point, right? Like, and she can't say anything, but she sent me some resources on like personality disorders, and I was like, it was like textbook of my life. From that, I got like really, really scared. Like my nervous system was like, and I started remembering everything that happened because there was so much like weird stuff that happened, guys. Like I could write a book and be like, what the fuck?
So thinking about that,
Yeah.
what you were saying right now, do you feel like you had a lot of mental block from what happened when you were younger, and going to that therapist or whoever you went to helped you unlock that?
Yeah. So I completely suppressed it or like repressed it. So like if someone asked me like how my childhood was, I would be like, it was great. Like my dad's my best friend. Like it's great. And, or like I had like a perfect childhood. And then when she started asking me questions, so she brought me back in that first session. It was like a moment when my dad threw me down the stairs, and then I froze. And through that, I was like, oh, maybe that's like not normal behavior. So I was like, oh, weird. And then that just opened up everything. And then all these memories came back, and I started questioning like, is that normal? Like, and then I'm like, oh, that's not normal. But it took me a bit to be like, really trust that because I was like, is it my issue? Like am I seeing it wrong? And it was comparing it to other people. So if this happened to my friend, what would I say or what would I think? And then it could but if it was me, I'd be like, I don't get it.
It's that worthiness that comes in, right?
Yeah.
And like your subconscious mind carries all of this without even you consciously realizing that you were, and you had to really tap into your subconscious mind to even bring that up.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that wasn't comfortable either. It
got so bad. So I had to take like 3 months off of school, and my nervous system was just crazy. Like I was so scared. I was scared he was going to come to my house. I was scared he was going to kill me. I'd be like just acting in really crazy ways. But from that, to answer your question, from that whole experience, I could understand it from a really experiential perspective, not a theoretical perspective, because you can understand things from your mind, right? But then when you actually have to experience it, oh, this is how the mind is influencing the body and expressing it through the body. It's like, whoa, okay, this is crazy. And then like how your mind works and how those belief systems and how those thoughts and assumptions are just playing out under your awareness. It's one thing to understand that intellectually, right? To read about it, but then to experience it and say, oh, weird. Like, what the hell? That was like a completely other thing. And then I realized that I could start to reprogram my mind to actually benefit me. And that would be expressed through my body and everything like that. So yeah, it came like full circle, like, whoa, this is powerful. Because even when I was experiencing all of those like negative emotions and stuff, I was conscious, but it was not nearly as powerful as like my subconscious being like, or like expressing it through my body and me acting in ways that just didn't make any logical sense, right? And I was like, oh, okay, so this is how they're talking about the 95% and the 5%. Yeah. And so it was through just like understanding that through like pain that I could just like apply that to like benefit me now.
So through learning all that, how did you feel that fared with your relationship with others moving forward, or before you realize and after? What was the contrast in that understanding what the problem was, figuring out a solution, and after what happened? Can you just elaborate so we can kind of understand, or people can understand what people go through in those moments and how they can get out of that?
And do you mean specifically when I was going through like that healing and like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, like not getting caught up in the trauma trap that we talked about.
Okay. So it actually did take a little bit for me to like fully just go like deep dive into healing. Like I did have to spend like 8 months fully just like healing my nervous system and trying to comprehend what happened. Because I would like, the example is, who are you close with in your family? Like, are you close? Do you have a sister?
Yeah, I have a sister, but
are you close with her?
Yeah, I'm close with one of them, you know.
Okay. Yeah. The one that you're close with. Yeah. Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I have a younger brother.
Okay, are you close with them?
Yeah.
Okay, so imagine that like today you found out that your sibling had a personality disorder and was abusing you your whole time, like had been like messing with you, and you had like no idea.
I would whoop their ass. But yeah, my siblings, we love each other, so like, but I would whoop their ass.
Yeah. You go into fight mode.
Yeah,
I went
mode.
into like freeze mode. Yeah. But it was just confusing. I was like, what do you mean? Like, I was just so confused how like I wasn't even aware of that. Like, it was just such a mind fuck of like just believing that someone was like your best friend and being like, wait, what? They're like fucking with me.
Yes.
Yeah, it was
That would
such
do
a
it.
mind trick.
That would do a number on, especially I feel like girls, women in general, like or people, I guess, who have more of a feminine energy, we tend to also take on emotions a lot differently, right? And it's more embedded in us, I feel.
So are you saying that we don't take on energy like you guys?
You said you're logical, right?
I'm more logical. I'm always like trying to think of like a solution in more of a logical way. Hey, you did this is what's gonna happen next. And I'm thinking in a puzzle way in how to solve it. But you're bringing something different to the table that's making me think now like, I could think about this in a more healing. Because sometimes for men like me, who are more masculine, we still carry a lot of the energy, but we don't realize because you do the work in healing yourself. We just mask it by like saying, hey, this is perfect. This is what we're going to do. And then, but we're not really healing a lot inside. So hearing this is kind of refreshing. And that's why I'm asking all these kind of questions to kind of understand, how do you get out of that funk without just being logical? Yeah,
you have to feel it. Like you have to feel all of the pain that's been stuck in your body. So if you can think about like your body and it's just accumulated. So think of like all the memories that you've had, all the experiences that you've had, they leave either a positive or negative charge. Both ones are affecting you. The positive ones are the things you become attached to and start like your behavior starts moving to, and both are causing you pain. And then the negative ones are the ones that you're running away from or you're trying to distract from. So like distraction's huge right now, right? People just not wanting to like feel what's in their body and or they're so disassociated. So I was disassociated for like the longest time. And then when I started like feeling, it was so much energy, but the only way to go through it is to like actually just tune in and like feel what's actually happening and to connect with your body again. Cause I was such in the clouds, like I was in my head. I was like, it was so much safer up there. And then when I had to get into my body, it was like so painful. It was just intense as hell. So it was through like feeling it and finding out like the biggest things that helped me. I did like so many modalities to try to heal. The biggest things that helped me were the energy practices. So you could go and like try to change your mind with your mind. It takes a lot more time. People can be in psychotherapy for like 20 years and feel absolutely no different. But the energy practices, the nervous system stuff is the thing that actually like helped me like shift the energy. And then once you shift those emotions that aren't actually you, then you're just left with like who you are, which is
your natural state.
Yeah, your natural state.
Before you go, so what advice would you give to somebody in my shoes?
Who's very logical?
Very logical.
Yeah. It's interesting. You bring up a good point because I have a brother who also went through a lot of like different because I was like, what's the child that like gets all the shit? And, like,
Is he younger than you?
I was the scapegoat. No, he's older. He's older, but he's like smart and he was like so good at sports and he just like had a different way. I was like, if my dad was being fucked, I'd be like, go and be like, you're being fucked and like get kicked out of the house or get the reaction. And he was a lot more like quieter, but when the same stuff happened, he was a lot more logical with the entire experience. But if you're listening to this, Isaac,
he will listen to it.
Like if I ask him, I'm like, he's fine, like he seems fine, he's so freaking chill, but there's probably a lot underneath the surface that he just hasn't either become aware of or just isn't wanting to look at, that's stuck in his body. So for someone like you, it would just acknowledging that that's happening, just the awareness of like, oh, maybe I'm in my mind and I'm like rationalizing things coming from a mind perspective, but there's a whole world and 95% of responses that have been stored in my body from this, and also like from your family, like through your generational line. Those patterns are still programmed within your body. So it's not just the work in like this lifetime, it's the stuff that's stuck in the information in your cells that are also affecting who you are.
But you also understand, some people would ask right now in the comment, well, you know, us men, we don't have the time to actually do the work. We have to get off the ground and move. How do we try to process something like that as fast as possible and not seem, I would say, weak, or not seem like we're, because when people see that, they'll say, oh, you're not being a man. So how do you deal with that, but also be in touch with your masculine side to be like, hey, I'm still this, but I'm dealing with this also? How do you feel like that can, I don't know if you've dealt with
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
I have clients who are male who come up with the same things. It's like expressing, they have a belief that expressing their emotions are actually like using their voice and like saying what's true for them is weakness, and they feel like a burden, and they feel like they're almost just like being dramatic. So they hold it in and suppress it. When you suppress anything, it's just going to come out when you're triggered, and then you express it in ways that you're like, wait, this, why did I do that? Why did I say that? Why did I have that behavior? But it would be firstly just maybe switching that expressing your emotions or even feeling your emotions is a sign of weakness, and just being open to, expressing my feelings, and not expressing my feelings as in like, you know, just going outside and like crying the whole time, which is valid, like nothing wrong with that. But for example, like I had a male client this morning, and it's instead of, and so he's struggling with anger. So he gets angry, and then he'll just, you know, just go off, like go unconscious, and then, you know, just be negative. And it's, instead of expressing that, like when you start to feel that in your body, are you connected with your body? Like, for example, like say, like, do you feel things like say in your heart, or like, or is it like, no? I
do.
Yeah.
But I try to push it away.
Yeah, there you go.
The reason is because I feel a lot of people rely on things from me. A lot of people rely on me to be mentally, emotionally, and everything stable, and to guide them.
Yeah.
So it's almost like I have to go into like a dark room, sit, deal with everything, come out and be like, okay, let me lead you guys. So that's what I would say is a way. It's not like I'm putting on a front, which is not. It's just I have to deal with it myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you have people that you're leading, and they need you to be strong. They need
100%.
you to be that leader who's going to walk through the storm for them. So that's why I'm so logical about things.
Yeah. And it is pretty masculine, right? Like the stability, the person who can like hold things together, who can like support like every chaotic thing that's happening. It's like holding that. But then I would just invite you that, I think you said it, like when you start to feel things, you can like ground and even just like acknowledge it, feel into it. So like in the moment, it's not like you need to do some like massive practice, but you can when it feels
sit
aligned.
on the floor and start going.
But you know what you don't realize? I think you don't realize because you dance. I think that's how you take it out.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you dance? Yeah,
Yes.
I was saying when she was showing me her dance stuff, and I was like, damn, you're moving so much energy, and that's like really moving. Yeah.
Because he teaches too. So I think what you don't realize, and I think just so I can add, even just what you said, you feel like other people need you to be strong, which automatically you're perceiving that showing your emotions is weakness again, right? So if you already feel like, we're not saying go and cry, but I think what people don't realize, all people have a masculine, feminine, irrelevant of if you're biologically whatever you are. So I think like when it comes to emotions, it's imagination, emotions, dreaming. You're a dreamer. I've talked to you, so you do tap into your feminine more than you think. So
okay.
Dancing is pretty feminine.
Y'all hear that? I tapped into my feminine. They're all
He's a
gonna-
dancer.
things
they're
all the
gonna-
time.
they're
Bro,
gonna
you're winding
kill
up
me.
your waist half the time.
They're gonna
That's
kill
not
me in the
feminine.
comments. Hey, she just got. Yeah, it does. It's okay.
You literally teach dance hall in Afro.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how you like. That's also without realizing. I think that's why you feel like you can be logical because you take out a lot of your energy. You dance pretty much most of the week. We all do.
Yes, absolutely.
Nice.
And whenever she tells me that, it kind of brings me back to reality. Like, oh yeah, I do. Release the
Yeah.
energy in a different way.
100%.
It's like people can't really see it, but it's
Yeah.
being released.
Yeah.
And that way I can come back to my center. I can wake up in the morning. Okay, let's back to work.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah, but I think for most people, or if they don't have an outlet like that, it's like they live like a really like chill lifestyle. Like they're not really moving too much, and then they're just like distracting by watching whatever TV like low frequency thing that they're tuning into, right? So like maybe like for you, your outlet may be dance and like movement, which is really
or I'll just watch Ozark and start.
there you go. You're like processing your emotions through that.
Just crying watching that.
Oh my gosh.
But honestly, that's like I think that's why I even related to quantum flow, to be honest, because I dance too, and it's very movement based.
Yeah.
So think it's like contemporary kind of dance. Think about it that way almost. So I think this became a therapy session for this one.
We're like
Not
going
really a
to-
therapy session for me. I feel like there are a lot of people like
especially
me
men.
that will watch this and they will take a lot just from the last 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's really powerful.
Yeah.
And I feel like they will get a lot out of it. And now
I'm gonna switch up a little bit.
Yes.
I'm gonna switch it up a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, considering all of what you've been through, you've kind of talked about it in a very brief manner because there's always more to the story. Yeah,
There's a lot of
There's
stories
a lot
here.
of stories here. I feel like but you kind of healed your journey. You kind of processed through it. You went through a few modalities throughout the year, and then I wanted to bring out the business perspective, right? So you turn it into a successful business, mindset and energy coaching, right? I know you've coached with a few amazing people. How did you take this to the next level where you're financially able to, create a good amount, a massive business
Move
that is
to another
supporting
country.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like you've trained with amazing coaches too that are like, okay, for most people are not like, okay, they're not like your everyday coaches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've had like the best.
The best.
coaches.
I've seen her coaches. So that's why I was like, you know what? Tell me what piece of the financial and the money mindset, how did you bring yourself to feel like you're worthy of that?
Yeah. So it came through all the different coaches and modalities and then just applying what I learned. And then once it works, then I just bring it into my business and I'm like, this works. Or like I've gone through so many different teachers and some of them I'm like, no, like that doesn't work. Or, and that's why I like use discernment when you are picking out your teachers and coaches. Like actually look at them and be like, do they have the result that I want and feel into their energy? Do they actually feel fulfilled or like feel into them? Don't just pick someone who's intellectually saying a bunch of stuff. Like, do they have the results? And also like, are they happy?
Yes.
So I think, yeah, just in like the coaching whole world, it just gets crazy because everyone can say a bunch of theory, but you just have to feel into like, okay, are they living it? Like, are they embodying it? And then you go to those people. But yeah, it's been through everything. So like everything that I have created, I first decided that I wanted to do it. And then I do a lot of scripting. I do a lot of, okay, I'm writing this out in the present tense. It's already done. And then it's been so many different things. So at one point I was, it's so crazy. I was writing it down 50 times, my goal. And then I was doing a breath work, and then I was doing a visualization and meditation. And for that, you're feeling into the energy of you already having it. How would you be? And then from that, you have to take what you saw and the information that you downloaded and actually just apply that into your everyday life. So actually using the meditation and the visualization and then like applying that in your life for the rest of the day. Not just doing it and then going back into your programs. You have to live from the outcome. So live from the version of you that already has that rather than like the present state. And so everything that I've like created from even like asking to be on podcasts, I wrote that down.
Yeah.
being in the press. I wrote that down. I said I wanted to be in 3+ press by, and it came true, right?
Like press. Can you tell us what press
Yeah,
that
tell
is?
us. Yeah.
Yeah,
Please.
so it was Women in Business was the
Superstar.
last one. Yeah, that one was cool.
Yeah.
There was not Business Insider, but Business International. There was Disrupt.
Superstar Plus.
Yeah. Disrupt, and I think there's another one, but yeah, it all came from that. And then like moving to Thailand, like obviously I decided that, and then you just program your mind.
Moving that to that next.
Yeah.
Why?
Yes.
Why?
Thailand's amazing. So I went there when I was 17, and I volunteered with rescue animals, and I loved it. And then my partner and I went last year for 4 months, and we both like loved it. And I actually he went home because he does like real estate and construction, and then
They also look like Ken and Barbie. Just wanted to
Ken
say
and Barbie?
that.
Oh shoot! Okay.
yeah, she's Ken and Barbie.
Ken and Barbie.
I told
man.
my partner that, and he's like, "Oh my god, that's so nice."
Did he say it exactly like that?
That would be
He
so
went full
fun.
into that. Yeah.
That was funny.
And then I extended it longer, and I just stayed by myself, and I just love it. The energy there, like it's so much more chill. Like everyone's so wholesome and so nice. The food's freaking bomb. Everywhere you look just looks like
Peace.
a dream world. Yeah. Just like the crystal blue oceans, and then like the sand, and then like just everything is so dreamy. And so I was like, yeah, I just need to move here. Like, why would I live here?
Is it more of like a slower pace world, or is it as fast as?
Yeah, because it's an island. So Koh Samui is an island off of Thailand. So it's southeast of like Bangkok. And yeah, it's pretty slow. Like as soon as you get off the plane, you're just like, you just feel it. Like
Shoulders feel lower.
Yeah, and you're like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And then what's also really cool too is there's the 12-hour time difference from here. So throughout the day, it's kind of like, you know what, like nights sometimes it just feels like more chill because like everyone's asleep.
Yep.
It's like that through the whole day. But it's going to be different because I'm going to be running my business like full on. But it's kind of just like, it's just refreshing. I don't know.
When you say running your business, is it like going to be more online based?
Yeah, it's going to be online. I do finish my breathwork certification, so I want to be doing that in person. And then I also have retreats that I want to start running in next year. So yeah, it'll be both, but most of it's going to be online through Zoom, which is what I'm doing right now.
I've been one to ask a question like this.
Yeah.
Why is it that everybody goes to Thailand to like
Or Bali or
to,
Mexico
to do something for a couple months?
You know what? Have you traveled there? You'll know why.
You'll know what. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
the thing.
I travel, but like I haven't gone.
Like I
there.
went to Tulum. I looked at real estate there because it's just so friggin' peaceful.
You know what? We should go.
Yeah.
You know, so we can travel there all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm already going.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
worry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys have to come.
Yeah,
you guys have to come, and then you'll just know why. Because like, so it's the energy. It's like the frequency of the earth. Might be too woo woo for you, but
As soon as she said frequency of the earth, I'm like, hold on, what? Where are we?
like,
Never
What's
mind.
going on?
and it's the people.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you think about it, like people who are like-minded always just accumulate in the same area. So there's going to be so many people who are like-minded that are going to be around you that are like thinking the same way. And so it just like your environment's so important, right? So it just like amplifies what you're already doing. Yeah. And I think it's both like the energy of the place plus like the community and like everyone you meet and just how beautiful it is. It's like, why would I not?
Yeah. So you're actually established your business in a way where you are able to travel and, you know, have that freedom of time that you don't have to be sat in a location.
Yeah.
So did you intentionally, when you started scripting, create that part of your business?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Like I can travel, or I travel anywhere I want to go. Everything's fully online. I attract my clients. I just magnetize them. Like I want this many clients. And like it's not like you just write that and then it happens. Like you have to take the action, like aligned action. And but what I just think what's really important too is like putting the emphasis on your RAS, so your reticular activating system, if you guys dabbled. So you set the intention and then you start to reprogram that part. So you start seeing things that are already in your environment that were already there to help you get to your goal. So you have to decide what that is first, start reprogramming that part of your brain, and then you'll just start to like naturally see things around you that get you to your goal.
Yes.
Or is it more like manifesting something?
Yep.
Okay,
it's more like the science of manifesting rather than like the spiritual, like woo woo, like, oh, you just think about it and it will come. Like that doesn't work. you have
so
to.
you're coming to our side, the logical side too.
No,
I am.
but she is right. There has to be a balance, though. That's why.
And what's really interesting, you said like that you're pretty logical. Like I'm extremely logical. Like I did my master's in science. Like I'm like very quantitative. Like where's the data? Where's the research for this? I'm not just believing something because someone said that. I'm very like science based, but everything like even with manifestation is science based. There's two ways you can look at it, but they're both saying the same thing, but they're just ways of understanding it. So even with my clients, like I ask them, are you more science based or are you more spiritual based? And then that's the way that I communicate to them because they're both saying the same thing. But it's just like whatever's going to land for some. Like if I just went off on you about like a whole bunch of spiritual concepts, you'd be like, I don't know. But if I could explain it through science, you might be more receptive to that. So yeah, it's both.
So do you have any tips? So we both work with a lot of artists and dancers and obviously in the real estate community too, but specifically for artists and dancers, we started this podcast as our goal to switch some money mindset for them, right? So what would be your suggestions or tips when it comes to that?
Money mindset. Yeah. I was just thinking, I didn't actually answer your last question about that. No. So money mindset. So yeah, firstly, like the worthiness bit about it. And then two, like reframing what you believe money is. So, and there's so many preconditioned beliefs about money. So it would be first identifying what those are. So a really simple exercise is like setting a 60 second timer. And then if I say money, write whatever comes up, like free flow. If I say debt, free flow, what comes up for you, and just like allow it. And then you'll start to see what's in your subconscious mind. And then so once you have those identified, then it's like consciously switching those and then restating them. You can do it through repetition. You can do it through, the best way to do it is by changing your brainwave state. So when you're trying to change something, so we're in beta right now chatting, you have to go to alpha or theta to actually switch the program. So like hypnosis is great for this. With quantum flow, we're doing that too. Like you can go through the body or you can go through the mind through like hypnosis and meditation and stuff like that. Or you can do it through breath work, which is like a body focus. But then you're switching those programs to something that's actually going to empower you. So what's your goal? So being really specific, what do you want? Like how much money do you want? And there's a good exercise in Bob Proctor's book. I'm blanking on the name, but he has it where you're listing out like all your expenses that, not right now, but from this future version. So like you're looking up, okay, what kind of house do I want? Okay, that's that much money. And then like you actually get a number and it's usually less than what you believe that it is. And
Absolutely.
Then,
Absolutely.
And then that's the one that you're trying to manifest because it has to be authentic to you and has to be real to you. If you're just picking something out of thin air, it's not gonna like land.
It's like data collection.
I want to make $1 million. People say
like,
that. Why?
Yeah.
I usually, because I want you to expand more on that. So I'll give you an example of what I do with people. So because like that topic is very important. Yeah. So I always ask, how much do you want to make? I want to make 300 grand. Okay. So that's a year, 300 grand. Okay. How much is that divided into 12 months? Okay. So how much is that divided into 30 days? How much is that per hour? So that's the number you should look at. How do I get this money per hour? Because if I get that money per hour, I will be guaranteed that's 300 grand at the end of the year. Yeah. So thinking about what you're saying right now is you can't, I wouldn't say you can't. It's hard for you to get to a number that you mentally think is unrealistic if you don't put a goal towards it. So how would you help somebody realize that without just being like, give me a number that you want? Like, how do you do that with your clients? I'm pretty sure you do.
Yeah. So you just have to explain the process to them and also the energetics of it. So if you're connecting to something, like you have to feel, so money is just the byproduct. Like you have to feel what that money is going to actually give to you. Yeah. So you don't actually want the money. I think everyone's heard this. Like you don't actually want the money. You want the money.
They're like, we want the money.
So with that number, you're connecting to what that would give to you. So with your visualizations, you're connecting to like what trips you want to go on, what your house is going to look like what you can do with your relationships, et cetera, et cetera. And so you're connecting with that, and that's the energy of it. And then you can, go into, okay, I'm going to need this X amount of income, money to do that. And so, like logically be listing out everything, your ideal life. And then it would be, so you have a reason, you have a container for that. That's going to be individual to every single person and really unique. And then you're explaining that, like, you just have to like keep saying, okay, it's not the money.
Yeah.
It's the experiences, it's the freedom, it's everything that it brings us. Yep.
Yeah. And then too, like I'm sure you guys have heard of like multiple sources. So it's like looking at different ways that you can, and also just reframing everything that you believe, about money. And then like the law of relativity, it's like, okay, this amount to some people, that's a really small amount. To you, it might be like really big, and just changing your perception about the actual like number. It's just a number on a page. Yeah. It's just a number.
It's just a number.
Yeah.
So just
and changing your perception about it.
Yeah. A lot of us is just growing up, just haven't been taught that money, is important, right? We've been taught to just, for example, buy a property, pay off your mortgage.
Or even just like how money is for rich people.
Yes.
Money is makes you greedy. Like all of those like perceptions that as a society we hold impact how much abundance we bring into the society as a whole, right? So that's just like not even the what you're talking about too, like not only the beliefs that our parents give us or society gives us. So like I think most people, because it's so common and so set in us, they don't even realize it. So I really like the exercise you said, like 60-second, where you don't have too much time to like rationalize things, and you write down every belief you have with money. And I can almost see most of them being limiting to you and why you won't attract. And I think there's a combination, just like even when I see it. So like within what you said in terms of the energy work, and then you use that logical, what you also said, that's when you kind of create that magic part where you're not like running after money. You're not like working hard where you're miserable, right? Then you also, if you combine the logic and the energetics, I think like that's when the flow happens.
Yeah, just another point on that is like when you put money on a pedestal, when you put anything on a pedestal, that's, you're going to get the opposite because there's polarity. Yeah. So you're going to get the contrast of that. So like taking the amount of money off of the pedestal and neutralizing that. And same with debt too. Like I went through like a big thing where I like was trying to neutralize my perception and my energy on debt. So it, I was thinking, oh fuck, this is so bad. And then I had to, so one of the teachers that is Dr. DeMartini. And so he's talking about neutralizing perceptions. And so it was listing out all the benefits of debt, and then the benefits of the benefits, and then the benefits of that. So it's like 3 benefits, and then that neutralizes it. Yeah.
That's a cool thing. I should try that.
Yeah. Because a lot of people have like, these just like really negative things about debt.
Especially in real estate.
Yes.
It's the whole thing, right?
They're like, oh my gosh, I bought a property. That's debt. I'm like, that's good debt.
And then benefits, right?
There's good debt, and then there's bad debt. But real estate is good debt, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like we can go on for another few hours. But looking at that pretty timer right there, I feel like you have any more questions?
Yeah, I have way more questions that I want to go.
You can do it. Okay.
I can go for like another half
hour.
Another hour.
I feel like I can go on for hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what we're going to do is actually make it a part 2. So let's bring this to conclusion.
Let's bring it to conclusion?
Yeah,
okay.
Let's bring this to conclusion.
Yes, let's bring it to a conclusion.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Emily, for coming here.
Thank you guys. I'm honored.
Yes.
I appreciate.
Yeah.
Appreciate
honestly, thank you so much for coming and fitting us into your crazy schedule, because I know you're moving so soon.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
Okay, no, thank
and she's here.
She's here.
Yeah.
So
thank
she's
you
moving
so
tomorrow.
much.
Yeah, no, it's good too, because it was like 1.7 kilometers away.
Oh,
and I'm
perfect.
like, damn, this is nice.
Okay,
yeah,
perfect.
Oh yeah, part 2 for sure.
Yeah, part 2 for sure. Honestly, I just wanted to thank you, because I know we can go on for hours, and you've given so many amazing tips and gems for not just our real estate people or artists, like energy work. And I think there's so much more to it, but
Absolutely.
I think it's a great introduction for a lot of our listeners that you gave us. So if some of our listeners want to find you, where can they connect with you?
Yes, where?
So my Instagram at I am Emily Bass, and then my website emilybassofficial.com. Okay. I just rebranded everything, so I'm like,
don't change it within the next 6 months.
Yeah, we're gonna put this in the description too, so it's like
amazing.
Click on it.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to thank you again, and it was so nice meeting you. I literally met her over the weekend, and it felt I met her 3 days ago.
Great energy too, which is amazing.
It's amazing.
Open conversation and not holding back, which is like a very good thing, especially when you're having a podcast, right? A lot of people are, get uncomfortable, but you were comfortable to open up, have a conversation, laugh, joke about everything, and also be serious, right? When it's called for. So
thanks for being vulnerable too and sharing your story. I think that takes a lot too.
Yes.
And I was telling someone I met at the retreat, I was like, I think the reason why we clicked is you have a very light energy. Because I think at the retreat we were around so much trauma and density. I think it was just nice and light when we were hanging out. So I actually do appreciate that.
Thanks.
But thank
you.
Our drums. Oh my gosh, we have no rhythm on the drums.
Really?
We were just
I gotta teach you guys. I gotta teach you guys how to play the drums. I know how to play the drums.
Oh, nice.
I know how to play the drums, and I know how to play
some hardcore help.
Rhythm.
Hardcore. No, we had I can dance, but somehow on the drums I was like, it just sounded like loud noise, but it felt like therapy session. We're just
like laughing. We're like, okay, this breaks like some of this like density.
Yeah. Because when you go to retreats like this, I'm sure you've done so many. Most people are healing, which means their focus at that moment sometimes is primarily on their past and their their energy where it has been. So it can get a lot if you may not be at the same place or you're in a different place at sometimes. But I think having that drum energy definitely helps. So thank you so much again for coming on.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you.